Alright guys, welcome to a little worksheet about texture. So, we're going to do some different textures just very simply and very quickly. The wonderful thing about texture is usually there's some quick technique to do it that looks great. So if you just follow with these steps, then you should be good to go, okay? So I'm going to show you two different kinds of wood grain that you can use. And what I'll do, I will just go with my B pencil for this one, okay? So you got your different pencils, different hardnesses of leads and different darknesses and lightnesses and stuff. So I'll tell you what I recommend for using where. For wood grain number 1, what we'll do is we'll just start with like drawing some, kind of looks like eyes. I'm going to do one more kind of coming off the page like that. Okay, and then all we do for that is we kind of follow their shape and we draw long lines going around them. And we just keep going around them. And we can kind of vary the line a little bit and like pull it out at places. Okay, same thing over here. Start drawing these lines around, and then eventually we kind of get closer and closer as we draw, and it'll start to look like wood grain. Okay, and that's it. That should start to look like wood grain, and this is kind of like the knots in the wood. It's just a very simple way of doing it. Okay, the next one I'm going to do is to help you do like wood planks or slats. So what I'm going to do is just draw a few stripes to start out with. I'm using my 6B pencil because it's nice and dark. Okay, and I'm just going to do a few thicker stripes like that. And these will represent some wood planks, and these are like the little slats, the little seams in between the wood planks. And then I'll grab like my B pencil because I feel like it. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to do nice flat hatch marks going across, just like that, back and forth. And that also starts to kind of look like scratchy wooden boards that people use to construct things like tree houses. And that's pretty much it. Okay, it's a very simple way of doing it. By the way, you can do all of these in pen if you want, but today we're using pencils. Okay, this time I'd like to use my 4B pencil. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do some thick stripes, thick lines to create some stripes. Just like that. Got my deers. And then we got to create our bricks. So now we need to do some perpendicular lines. Okay, some nice rectangles. Try to keep your lines nice and straight. And please notice that I'm staggering the bricks. Bricks do not stack up in one big stack, one on top of the other. We stagger them for structural support. It's a whole physics thing, believe it or not. Okay, now what we'll do is I think I'll stick with just a B or 2B pencil, okay? And what I'm going to do is just add little cracks, little lines, little cracks. You can kind of dull down some of the sharp corners of the bricks. The more you do this, then the more like kind of old and distressed the bricks will look. So just some little cracks in the bricks would be great. Just little lines to show some wear and tear over time. Okay, and then the other thing is just some dots, some stippling will also help to create a little bit of texture, which will then look pretty cool. Okay, so something just like that. Grass. Okay, so what I'd like you to do for grass is I'd like you to use either your HB or 2H pencil. Okay, and I want you to use this because this is harder lead. It creates sharper, finer lines. And with grass, what you want to do is kind of use hatching and then draw grass in little clumps like this. So it's a little bunch of grass just like that. Let me get a little closer for you. There we go. Okay, so just little bunches just to try. Just a little like that. They're mostly like pointed up, but they flare off to the sides just a little bit, okay? And then remember that grass that's in the foreground is closer to us, so it's gonna look bigger. And if you wanna do more grass going backwards, then it just needs to get a little shorter because as things move away from us, then they get smaller. All right, tree bark. My way of doing tree bark is to use an ebony pencil, and I'm going to hold it on its side. I'm not going to grip it like I'm writing, but hold it on its side, and I'm going to pretend like I'm shading, but I'm going to pretend like I'm really nervously shading. So I have to have like a really nervous hand as I do this, and this will help me create rough texture that you would see on rough things like tree bark. Okay, now please resist the urge to go, oh, she told me to get all nervous. Okay, because that's scribbling. That's different. All right, we're trying to just create some rough looking shading that would help resemble the outer layer of the tree bark. Okay. And last one, we're going to do some stones. So what we'll do is I'm going to start with a very light pencil. And I'm going to draw some organic shapes. So these are pretty circular, but I don't know that I've ever seen a perfectly circle stone. So they're kind of lopsided. Actually, I want to make sure to get these very close together. So there you go. Almost touching. Okay. And that should be good. Okay. So that was just with my HB or 2H pencil. And then I'm going to take a darker pencil like 4B or 6B, and I'm going to shade in between all the stones, those little areas, the grout basically. Okay. And I'm doing this quickly so that I don't bore you. But right. And then after that, I'm going to just lightly color in the stones with my different pencils. That way I get different lightnesses and darknesses. So I'm done with the 6B and I'm going to ignore it and then use all my other HB and B pencils, okay? So you can keep some of the stones perfectly white, that's fine. But like I'll lightly shade in that one and maybe one other one with my HB. Okay, I'll use like 4B on another one so it comes out darker because different stones are different lightnesses and darknesses. Okay, and that's the gist of it. So you do that so you get different lightnesses and darknesses. And then the last thing you do is choose whichever pencil you want. Well, actually choose a little bit of a darker pencil. Maybe my 4B will be good. And I'm just going to add some stippling again for just a little bit more texture. And I'm going to try and keep the stippling mainly on like one side of the rocks just to add a little bit of value. And that's pretty much it. So hope you like this. Enjoy and good luck.